Hello and welcome to this episode of Superhero Ethics and this episode of PandaVision. Today we are finishing up our coverage of Season 2 of The Witcher. We're talking about episodes 7 and 8 with Paul Hoppe, Ashley Coffin, and myself, Matthew Fox. All that and more after a commercial break that we have no control over. All right, welcome back. I'm Matthew, your host. As I said, I'm joined by Paul and Ashley. How are you folks doing tonight?
Good. I feel like we just got to the end of a journey.
Yeah.
Sure. It's day here still, so, you know.
We may have different feelings about that journey, but at least we're at the end of it.
We are. I've enjoyed being on the journey with you all.
I love that we
that's
just
good.
said we were going on a journey and already you're disagreeing with me. You're like,
That's the journey.
We're going to call it. I cannot wait to get into this.
All right, so I think there's some overall thoughts we might have about this episode, these two episodes and the season in general. Actually, starting with you, like, what's your take on episode 7 and 8? How we ended this story?
So there was a lot that I liked and then that I disliked and then I liked again and then I liked. I feel like a lot of shows recently have been doing that to me. I felt that with like Hawkeye. But yeah, I mean, I love a team up. I like when everybody's together. So there were some things that they did that I was like, oh, I have to like you because I love what you're doing right now.
Yeah. Like, I was thrilled when the dwarves came back, and I loved some of that. I loved some of the way that, like, you know, Jaskier got involved and other, but Paul, let's hear your thoughts on episode 7 and 8, because I think I may be kind of halfway between you two.
Fucking hated it.
Oh,
no. I will say that I actually liked a lot of what Ashley liked. I did like them teaming up. I liked Yennefer finding a way to do useful things despite not having her magic. I thought that was really cool. How they did that in a way that made actual sense as opposed to it feeling really contrived. And then just as soon as she did that, she got her magic back. So, you know, there's a whole kind of thing there, I guess. So like, I liked them kind of all getting back together. You know, Francesca killing all the human babies, like, all right, infanticide. Yeah. Like I was getting this Harvester of Sorrow vibe from the, like, you know, the whole, you know, like, take the deathless mother kind of feeding off their misery, right?
Explain that to the kids,
and then
Paul.
there's like the line infanticide, you know, in Harvester of Sorrow is the, I want to say seventh track, right? Off of, sixth track off And Justice for All. The, my favorite Metallica album. I know most people think Master of Puppets is better, but, bass or no bass, I think And Justice for All is awesome. And this really felt very Harvester of Sorrow, like, you know, the whole Baba Yaga kind of feeding off of the pain or the what was it? It was more specific, right? It was
like sorrow and
desperation or something.
Yeah, desperation.
Right? Yeah,
and fear.
And so, you know, I thought it was kind of clever how Yennefer extracted her into her. The entire plot of, like, how the Deathless Mother is trying to escape, then does it this way, I feel like she could have done that more easily, but it would have made the story shorter.
Why did the house have legs?
Right? Yeah, we don't know.
I don't know.
But, like, yeah, the whole, like, you know, Ciri getting possessed and then killing all these Witchers, and then, like, then she's trying to go do something, and they're like, oh, we should stop her. And Geralt's like, wait, let her kill half of all of our brothers, and then we'll save her, or whatever. I'm like, just kill her. I don't know. Like,
I will say, just on the legs thing, that's actually part of the original Baba Yaga myth.
Oh,
so
cool.
at least, like, they didn't make it up for this, but they didn't find a way to explain it in a way that made too much sense. Right.
And, yeah, I mean, whatever. That's fine. I mean, it's just... Do most of the monsters make a lot of sense? You know, it's like they're just mythological creatures, right? And it's like, okay.
Well, I felt bad that I didn't remember what her actual name is and was just calling her Baba Yaga this whole time. So now I feel like that's okay.
Yes, it is, because she's just so clearly Baba Yaga, right?
Yeah. And we know I love Dark Phoenix, so I couldn't help but not love
Dark Phoenix
turn.
I was gonna say that was originally gonna be my lead-in here on my reaction. Was like, well, we already covered this story, right? When we did Dark Phoenix together.
So for those who don't have an encyclopedic memory of bad X-Men movies from 10 years ago, walk us through the Dark Phoenix connection you saw.
Go ahead, Paul.
Oh, it was just literally the same story where you have, some powerful woman who then gets possessed by some other powerful malicious force, and then she kills a bunch of, the sort of heroes or friends of heroes, and then you have to like bring her back, and like
right.
I don't know, maybe this was a better Dark Phoenix than either X3 or Dark Phoenix X-Men movie.
Yeah,
so
I agree with that.
Like 5 and 15 years ago, I think they made those two movies, but it. Yeah,
I split the difference with 10.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that's kind of in the spirit of the truth. 10.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? But it's like, it's just such a tropey trope, and it's like, I really like the Dark Phoenix story, and I want to see it done well in its own thing. Oh, no. But then here, I'm just like, okay, I guess you're doing this, and I don't know. I just liked each 2 episodes less than the previous 2 episodes. I really, really enjoyed the first 2 episodes this season, and it made me optimistic, but always with some, a little like, okay, we'll see what happens. And then I just felt like it kept going just a little down more and more. And by the end of it, I was like, am I even excited for like the Michelle Yeoh prequel?
So what you're saying is you had the opposite experience of season 1?
Yeah, season 1 started off awful and got better as it went along. You nailed it there.
So basically, like, episodes like 7, 8, 9, and 10 are like the peak for you. Like, end of season 1, beginning of season 2.
Yes.
That's
of the
like
whole
peak Witcher.
That's correct, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
I think the whole season was kind of up and down for me. And I'll say, like, I was trying to watch it last night, and I was like, it was late at night, and I was tired, and I didn't feel very well. I later found out this morning it's because I was developing COVID symptoms, because I've tested positive today. So that might have had something. But yeah, I was just so, like, I kept checking the time on when the episode would end. Like, I just wanted it to end, because I just felt like nothing made sense. And we're probably going to bounce around a lot, but just when we're on the Dark Phoenix thing, I'll bring up, like, the kind of ethical thing. I felt like, I get why Geralt wants to protect Ciri. And granted, later we find out that actually trying to, like, kill the body of Ciri won't stop Baba Yaga. But in that moment, they don't know that.
Right.
And he's saying, like, no, we have to save her. And in the act of saving her, like, numerous of them are getting killed. I had some real problems. And to me, what it reminded me of, Cap being like, no, we don't trade lives.
Oh, right.
Except for all of these Wakandans who are going to die as we try to stop Vision from trading his life. Yeah. Like, it just to me had a very similar energy. And I get Geralt wanting that, but it did feel like, what else, like, why is no one... I disagreed with him, and I wish the writers realized he was maybe wrong there.
I felt like the writers were like, this is the correct point of view, and he's just explaining it to Vesemir while all of, his, like, adoptive sons are basically getting slaughtered. Like, it had a very Saving Private Ryan vibe to me, too. The whole, like, we will now all go and die to save one person. It's like, but why? Like, I'm into, like, heroic rescue attempts, and, like, if you're risking your life, fine. But, like, this felt like there reached some point where it was like, what are you doing? But I don't know.
Just for fun. Yeah. I liked the suspense of not now all of a sudden, oh shit, anybody could die at any moment. They really are, like, it could be anybody. And I thought, like, that's the whole point of the Witchers, is to save the innocents from the monsters, or is it just to kill the monsters?
I think it's to kill the monsters and make money. But yeah, in theory, it's...
Like, Geralt's thing, just for him as a Witcher, was like, I'm going to, like... No, they are like, we don't hurt people. We stop the monsters, which is why he saved the Lycan princess or whatever. Yeah. So I was like, okay, I get why they all would be doing this. And then just having them go one by one, I'm like, oh my God, anybody could die. I thought Vesemir was going to die like 6 times. And honestly, the last 2 episodes were like knuckles under my chin, like, oh shit, this is getting nuts. Especially when she starts bringing out like the selenite, selenite? Whatever they call that black stone, and was just whipping it back and forth. But I'm an action whore. So I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Everybody's dying. This is great. Yeah.
I liked the action scenes, although I wish it wasn't just like, let's slaughter monsters because they're ugly and scary.
I'm sorry, but we always slaughter the raptor snakes. Please. The raptor snakes have to go. Like, we can save every other animal but raptor snakes.
Well, we can definitely get to that, because I think Paul's going to have some feelings on it as well. My only point was, I just felt like the conceit to give us the combat of we have to protect, because I think it's right. The Witchers do want to save lives, but I don't think they feel like their lives are like less important than someone like Ciri.
I think they could have easily sort of avoided that, what to me felt like a sort of bullshit ethical choice, and they could have tried to kill her and just not been able to, and known that they therefore had to take a different tack.
They did kind of have a relationship with her. Like, they cared about her. It wasn't just like they met her yesterday and then she was slitting throats.
No, for sure. But it's like you had the thing with, what's his face in the, I guess, was it the second episode or episode 3 and 4, where the one Witcher was infected with the Leshen, right? And they just killed him. Like, because it's like, what are you going to do, you know? And so I think if, like, somebody, like, tried to cut her head off, and it was just clear that at that point she was, like, far too powerful, and the only way they were going to be able to stop her was to somehow draw out, you know, Baba Yaga.
Well, they stabbed her, and she healed it.
Right.
Vesemir did get up there, and he put one in her gut, and they're like, uh-oh. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, if that had been more shown as the motivation, I think that would have worked better for me.
Yeah. I think if that happens before Vesemir and Geralt have this discussion about, do you try to kill her or not, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
Or they would have changed that discussion.
Sure. Right.
It was like...
Yeah.
He tried to do the right thing, and then he was like, get this bitch, you know? Never mind.
Yeah, he basically... And I mean, I think that's a reasonable sort of like, okay, we'll try and do it without harming her. Oh, fuck, this isn't going well.
Yeah.
All right, what are you going to do? We're going to, you know... And... Yeah, I mean, I thought the action was pretty good, I guess. I wasn't really invested in it by that point. I was like, I don't know. I was just kind of, like, but
no.
I don't, here's a question. Do you feel like this is a better Dark Phoenix story than either of the X-Men Dark Phoenixes?
No, I enjoy the
movies.
The newer one.
The newer movie, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We talked about it for 2 hours, Paul.
We did. I'm asking whether you thought it was better. But
yeah,
I mean,
you know, I liked it.
You didn't say it was your favorite, though, right? I mean,
yeah, but I mean, I can't stand the X3 because I mean, she was just onslaught. We could get into that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I liked Sansa Stark. I forget the actress's name. Like, I thought she was like. I remember you listened to our episode about it. There's a lot about Dark Phoenix movie I like. A lot of it I thought was awful.
Yeah.
I thought this was better than that.
Okay.
But I don't feel like... It just felt like such a letdown, because I felt like... And let's get into this part, because honestly, to me, this was one of the things that I felt most let down by. I didn't buy Yennefer. I felt like they'd been trying to... You know, she was having this wrestling with Baba Yaga that to me was more about, like, her own sense of control. And, like... She wants her power back, but will she sort of go... Her whole thing for a season and a half had been, how do I have power without having to, like, get it while being controlled by someone else? You know, whether it's at the school or the Nilfgaardians or the wizards or whatever it is. And so then when it all of a sudden became about, no, I see how good Ciri is, I need to protect her, and also she loves Geralt, and so that's wonderful about her. I felt like if they'd given me another episode of the two of them spending time together, I could have started to buy that. But while it happened, it just felt very contrived.
I kind of saw like she was going to sacrifice something that for the entire last season we know meant so much to her, and that was a child. And she, for a minute, was going to go that dark side just to get her powers back. And I think she kind of like had that realization when she saw Ciri's powers displayed at the bridge, and then right before walking to the black door that we never saw, I think she really saw like, oh, I did something really wrong. Geralt is not going to forgive me. And like, I fucked up. I just feel like that's when she decided that she was going to not, try to get her power. Like, that was going way beyond something that was so important to her. But now she can like take this child, and you're like, well, you're my child now too.
Right. I can have a kid.
And that's why you're important. The parents stay together for the kid is how we left this.
Yeah, exactly. Yennefer was probably the part I liked the most in the last 2 episodes.
I agree.
Like the whole her decide, like she basically was like, I'm not going to give in to try and get power this way until she was basically just going to get killed. Mm-hmm. And then she was like, well, fuck this.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm going to go and get my power back. And then she's going about it, but it's like she gets to know Ciri. She's not just like some rando that she has in chains or something. She's like, okay, I know this person, and she has to betray somebody that she's learned and I could see how if you had a longer period of sort of that training, that could be more compelling. To me, the reason it works for me and the reason I can see it and I buy it is that it's not so much the amount of time that they spent together, it's the amount of time that Yennefer spent wanting a child.
Yeah.
And so this was like a payoff on that desire that kind of maybe had a like blunt force emotional impact that maybe she wasn't expecting. So then when she gets there to where she's, can, take her to the black door or whatever, then she's like, wait, no, this isn't what I want. What I want is, to take care of this child and like have this be like my legacy as opposed to like getting my power back. And at the end, it feels like her getting her power back was just sort of like an accident. Like, it's not even what she meant to do. I think she thought she was maybe sacrificing herself, was maybe going to die.
Yeah, she slit her wrist. So I honestly thought that her getting her powers back after that was, I thought that was earned. You were going to die.
Sure, yeah. Right.
Yeah,
she was...
that part of the 7 different endings, that was one of the ones that I was okay with.
Yeah.
I think for me, it's that I never quite bought Yennefer and Ciri as having kind of like Yennefer seeing her as a child. Because, like, I mean, at this point, Ciri is basically supposed to be like 18 or 19.
13 or 14.
Okay. Well, if she's supposed to be 13, that doesn't come across at all.
Well, I know it's been like a long journey for not a lot of episodes. We talked about it.
When does anybody ever play their age on a show, though?
Well, yeah.
Well, that's what I mean. To me, Yennefer reads like a big sister, if anything. She reads like she's like 8 to 10 years older than Ciri, not like a maternal figure.
Not like 70 years older.
I guess that's why it didn't click for me of like, this is, she's having that child moment. But I can see that, if that did connect, then I think that could sell.
When she was talking to Geralt about like how it felt teaching her something and then watching her be able to do it, that conversation kind of like, that's like that, I could like when I'm with my friend Katie's or any of my friends' kids and like you show them something and they're like bewildered, like, I don't want a child. But you're like, cool. Like, that was cool. I just taught you something. Go take that knowledge and run forth with your day.
and I mean, I can speak like as a teacher, like teaching teenagers, I think has that feel, just as much to me as like teaching children. Like maybe what she wanted wasn't necessarily so much to like, pop out a baby, but like to have like maybe sort of an apprentice is more what she wanted.
Yeah,
right?
She's
maybe,
adopting.
Yeah. Exactly.
I will say Yennefer had 2 of my favorite lines, I think of the season, but certainly of these 2 episodes. One was when Ciri asks her, like, what's between you and Geralt or Geralt? Now I keep getting it wrong. What's between you and Henry Cavill? And she says, longing, regret, hope, and fear. And I just thought that was really powerful. And then when later she says, when you have power like this, never apologize. Because that is both horrible advice.
Yes, horrible.
But also one of the most Yennefer lines that you're ever going to hear.
I love her so much.
It was perfect. It was perfect and wrong.
I was having a really good time with all the scenes, like after Geralt caught up with them and had like the knife at her throat. From that moment on until the very end, she would come up and say something. He would stare at her with that I smell the worst fart smell and then just walk away and she would stare. And they might have done this 6-7 times. And I was like, you in trouble, girl. He is not happy with you. But they really made sure to like make sure you saw. all those long stairs.
yeah.
And then at the very
For
end,
sure.
when he's walking out, that's when he turned and he looked at her. And then she finally followed at the end before they talked to Siri on like the edge of the castle. And I was like, thank God that's over.
So, okay, so what in the world happened in the last 20 minutes? Because like I said, I felt like we got like 7 different ending scenes.
Well, there's the whole Fringilla and Sir Cheekbones.
Yeah, let's cut this into, let's talk about them and the elf people.
Yeah.
Because I don't even know where to start.
I do want to say, I know we're calling him Sir Cheekbones, but every time I look at him, more and more I get the sense that he's just a poor man's Matthew McConaughey. Like,
I gotta see that.
He just looks so much like that.
He does have some similar resemblance.
I will say Fringilla definitely got to have her Banff moment.
I enjoyed it.
The like, it didn't make any sense to me whatsoever, but it was still pretty awesome of the like, everyone drank a potion and they all got paralyzed at the exact same moment.
Oh, right.
With perfect dramatic timing.
I totally forgot that.
Yeah,
it was amazing watching her just
slowly kill them.
And all of them having to be aware of it. Like that's a very much a Fringilla moment. Like I was like, okay, I can appreciate what you're doing here.
Yeah, I enjoyed that scene a little bit too much. I was like, get them. Get those guys.
Yeah, I mean, you know, they had it
coming.
They earned it. Tossing elves off buildings and shit.
Yeah, Hake was, I wrote in my notes, terrible McTerrible. He's not a very complex character. He's just here's the terrible one.
What was that after the elf baby got killed? Or it was before?
I think it was before,
right?
Because that was the whole point, is that she kills the elf baby in part 2.
Well, she doesn't.
Kind of
No, she didn't do it.
She doesn't.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. But they try to take advantage of that situation.
Yeah, right. I loved that they were liars, and then I immediately hated what they did with the story after that. Because we'll get there. Because I'm so confused about the end.
Their whole like, you know, Kahir being like, oh, you know, it was very, you know, smart of you to do this, and she's like, I didn't. He's like, it was very smart of you to do this. She's like, oh. Why, yes, wasn't it?
You said to rave.
Exactly. And then they go and talk to the guy who apparently did it, and they're like, yo, we did this. And he's like, no, you didn't.
I did, you little liars.
How I know that. And that dude, like, I guess he had just been exiled?
Yeah.
Like, for some reason.
Let's tear this apart. So Siri's dad is alive. And instead of just telling everybody, go get my daughter and tell my daughter I'm alive and I'm going to bring her to this giant thing that I've started under everybody's guise. Like, nobody has any idea that I have a whole kingdom and army, and they're even called, like, why? What?
Right.
Huh?
Well, especially because this is Mr. Hedgehog,
yeah.
right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, this is Sonic.
So
like...
I thought I saw him die in the lab, but I don't remember season 1.
Well, we were told that him and the mother, that they died on a ship.
Okay.
Mm.
But it's very much like, we don't see the bodies.
Right. So he must have survived.
And started an
himself as the
entire kingdom.
Started an entire kingdom. Still looks like he's in his 20s. Like,
true. That's a good point.
Right? Like, I don't know. Like, does he have some magic? He must have some magic. Otherwise, like, what? I don't know.
Right.
I mean, he was only in there for like a moment, so like maybe
it's only been. I don't know. I guess Geralt looks the same age, and Jaskier,
right? And Yennefer, and, you know, I mean, some of these characters they don't age as normal humans do, and I imagine that elves probably live extra long. I'm not sure.
Is he was cursed, right? He's not an elf.
He was cursed, so he's probably cursed in a way that gives him great powers, just like, you know, Geralt's friend.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
That's just how it works here.
I summon everything to my table kind of curse.
But it's like, why would you send Sir Cheekbones to so aggressively try to kidnap your daughter and scare her half to death? And then have him go get like Skinwalker? Like, it was so traumatic. Instead of just having him bring a letter that's like, I'm your father and I'm alive. She would have skipped after you. She's a stupid kid.
Right? Exactly. Right? It doesn't make any sense to me. So I don't know whether they'll try and make more sense. Like here, it's just like the stinger. You know, the post credit scene. Even if it wasn't post credits, I don't remember if it was.
No, the new trailer was.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
I would bet that what they're going to do is, because this seems like the most cliche.
Yeah,
it could be an interesting story.
You're probably right.
Is like, you know, the mother, the queen, is still mad at him because he's this hedgehog knight who gets married to her daughter, and so like he resents her because she always treats him like he's beneath their family, and so he decides to become a genocidal maniac, religious king.
Right? He's like, you're a genocidal maniac. I'm a genocidal maniac,
and I'm gonna live in your city.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. But still,
I'm gonna genocide your people.
Yeah, it just doesn't make any logical sense, at least regarding Ciri.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I
have to think. The only way it can work to me is if he has much larger goals and Ciri is kind of like a side plot. You know, like. If he believes he's the White Flame, if he wants to conquer everything,
right? Okay,
I can get it. If he did all of this just to get Ciri, then yes, like there is an easier path from A to B.
I think they know, because that's what Geralt was saying at the end. He was like, "These people know, but how did Nilfgaard know?" It's because he would know that she's elder blood because somebody would have told, like his, you know, her mom probably told him.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But I still hate it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just felt very like, haha, here's the big twist.
Yeah.
And we were like, okay.
You guys want to pivot to baby killing?
Sure.
I
always want to pivot to baby killing.
I want to ask one more thing on Fringilla. First of all, I wonder if anyone noticed this. When Fringilla is doing her Bamf moment and like killing all the people while they're paralyzed, you hear Baba Yaga laughing. First of all, I heard like very clear echoes of Emperor Palpatine laughing, and I wasn't sure if that was intentional.
She was doing that to
everybody.
Yeah.
But so what has Fringilla now, like, is the idea that where Yennefer like refused to follow Baba Yaga at the end, that Fringilla is just 100% on the Baba Yaga train, and if so, like, what does Baba Yaga want in Nilfgaard?
I think she got it, though. When she killed all those people, she got enough power from Fringilla and then all the baby deaths to be able to break out and take Ciri. So that was all she wanted.
Okay.
She wanted to get back to her dimension.
She wanted to feed on their fear and loathing and
to break out of Leg House.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Which is the other reason why I went to like the Return of the Jedi Emperor Palpatine. That whole thing of like, she's feeding on our hate. We have to hate less.
Right.
It's very much like,
Yeah, that's why Francesca and Fringilla fell right into there, and that's how she got out.
Mm-hmm.
So is Fringilla now free of that? Like, is Baba Yaga like peace?
Yeah, I think she's gone.
I think so. Yeah.
For now, because those riders are definitely coming back.
Cool. All right, let's talk about Pesach and the Angel of Death going through and killing all the firstborn and all the kids, apparently.
I mean, I don't. I'm not a mother, but I totally understand her anger. Mm-hmm. And that was like the first elf born in how long?
A long time.
Yeah, so apparently. You take everybody's firstborn. No? No good?
I mean, I don't know. I guess...
In a moment of rage, I could totally see myself. No.
just killing all the...
At least within like a square mile.
Right. I mean, the thing is, it's like those people weren't the ones who, like, you know what I mean? It's like people are always going around taking out their shit on other people who aren't actually directly involved. It's like, kill the parents.
Yeah.
You know? I mean...
Everybody in that town was shitty to elves.
Sure, yeah. I mean, everyone in that town was pretty shitty, right? Or everybody that we saw. Like, maybe some of them were just scared and hiding and whatever. But, like, yeah, these humans, they're not the best. They're kind of like real-world humans. But, I mean, personally, like, I don't have, like, the same feelings about human babies that I guess most people do.
Same.
But, like, and that's not to say that, like, an individual baby, if I meet them, I'm not like, oh, you're so cute. And,
Paul's
like, you can
fuck
potentially
this baby.
be an interesting person. But, like,
one day.
No, it's just, like, I don't think they're, like, more important than, like, a cat, you know? I mean, they're more important to their parents, hopefully.
But not
probably.
Me.
Not hopefully, because, like, hopefully, like, a cat would also be important, but hopefully that, if most people treat their kids worse than people treat other animals, like that's really bad. But like, yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem like necessarily proportional retribution, and she's like, this isn't about vengeance, it's about justice. Like, what? Like, what?
No.
What? I mean, besides the fact that, that's kind of a whole made up thing anyway. Like, it's like, if it weren't, that's I don't think that's what it looks like.
Also, where did she get that power, and why didn't she use it on other people and not for
why
babies?
Hasn't she, like, maybe this is a Baba Yaga thing, though. Maybe she's got,
it was
you know
the
what
fire.
I mean?
Yeah. Oh.
Right?
I do want to back up 1 second and issue a listener challenge. Listeners, if you can think of a situation where a character has said, this isn't vengeance, it's justice, and they were correct, please let us know. Because I can think of very, very few, if any, examples.
Batman.
Generally, I feel like if someone it's that kind of like, if someone says you can trust me, that means you can't trust them.
Exactly.
If someone means this isn't vengeance, it's justice, it's vengeance.
I took it to mean like we're not stopping at vengeance. Like it was like, this is vengeance, but now we're going to go farther and justice, take back our lands, blah, blah, blah. Like, okay, fine, whatever.
Well, now that the name Siri is trending all over wherever their country's called, like the elves know, everybody knows, like it's out. Everybody knows about Siri. And they all want to use her now.
Right, exactly. I thought it was interesting that Yennefer's vision was basically all these babies, her baby exploding in fire in a crib. And then that's actually what happened, but it wasn't hers. It was like all of the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's almost kind of prophetic. I will say I might have laughed out loud when that crib caught on fire in the second episode or whatever it was with Yennefer. I don't know. I was just like, this seems so ridiculous. I'm going to laugh. But like, I literally looked at me like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
What do we do while our cribs are burning?
I feel like I'm at home. This feels good. No.
All right.
What do you got
now
next?
That Child Protective Services wants to make sure neither of you are ever allowed near a child.
They don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
I'm very good with children. I don't like cribs on fire. It's not.
He just likes to see them.
I'm not for it. I just think it's funny.
Spontaneous.
That's all.
Baby
That's
spontaneous combustion is a hoot.
I mean, to me, like what I would say would come down to that. Yeah, like, to me, like it is like innocent it is lives being ended, murdered, and like the actual human babies didn't have anything to do with like the terrible things that happened, and their parents like probably didn't directly either, and so like like that kind of justice is not something I'm supporting by any means, but like I think a lot of shows would be like, we can't murder babies on the show,
right.
Mm-hmm.
and that's where I'm like I think I'm not there. I'm not like, if you can kill people on a show, you can kill people, and babies are people. Like, so to me, it's like,
I thought they did it real classy, just making them stop crying all at once.
They didn't like show a flaming baby or anything. Yeah,
right.
It was like they were crying, and then it's like, oh, they're all quiet. They must
they're
be
like,
dead,
my baby. I was like, uh-oh.
That's one of my like TV show pet peeves. Superhero shows or
Save
whatever.
my
like,
baby. I'm going to stand out here and watch the building
okay.
burn with my baby in it. I was like, that's not what I've been told
I feel like
mothers
most parents
do.
would try to save their baby.
Just
They'd be like,
try.
I'm walking through the fucking flames. Like,
Right.
to try, you know what I mean? Or
like
fathers.
I did have
or
a
whatever.
moment of like, your baby has just died. All around you are other people screaming about their baby having died. No one wants to like poke their head out into the street and see what's going on. Like our heroes in that moment, not our heroes, but we're just walking down the street being like, baby dead, baby dead, baby dead. Cool. And no one's like, can you not? Like,
Yeah. Well, I would stand outside and be like, what's happening?
mm-hmm. Why are you all so upset?
Yeah,
poor
what
humans?
happened? We're leaving.
Yep. So some other kind of fun moments. I did really enjoy the Jaskier Geralt reunion, especially because like, here's the way I read it, because it was a little bit back and forth, but because he starts with just the like, fuck it, and he just hugs him,
Right.
and then he starts getting into like all the reasons he's mad at him, and to me, what I took, because at first I was like, wait, you just said fuck it, why? But the way I took it was like, it could have been, Geralt, I'm not going to accept that we're friends again. I'm not going to go with you again because I'm still mad at you and we have to resolve all this. But instead, it was him being like, you're here, you need something, fuck it. Of course, I want to hug you. Of course, you're my buddy. But now also I'm going to lay into you about all the shit that you did that I'm pissed off at you about.
Yeah. I enjoyed when he called Yennefer, what's her demon?
Yes.
But yeah, that was cute. It was good to finally, they'd been apart for so long. So to finally see them back together. And he's like, my friends are mice. I'm like, yeah, we know.
And that moment of, oh, I'm Geralt, I'm so sad and complicated was really, really wonderful.
Yeah, he did do a good impression. I'll give him that. But he can keep his shirt on because I don't care for his sporadic chest hair. Ugh. It's very strange. I don't know what they were trying to get us to think in that scene. I'm like, are you trying to like really push Jaskier on people and be like, he's hot, trust us? I'm like,
I mean, they don't need to. Like, Jaskier is already considered very hot by quite a lot of people.
Oh, well, not me. Okay.
But I felt like, yeah, him having a cut chest had nothing to do with it. And it felt a little like, the actor was like, look, I just spent 6 months in the gym. Can I
have a whole...
just a bit?
Oh, okay, good. I thought like, okay, was I the only one who thought that was a little weird? I don't know.
It's like,
okay, good.
I didn't eat this week. Like, can we shoot this?
Yeah, he looked so pale and so cold. He looked very cold.
Yeah, I didn't think it helped the story at all. It was needed.
I like the, immediately being like, all right, fuck it. Like, not like we're good, but like, we're good enough that like we will be good, kind of. Yeah. And like I'll help you with your shit, but like we're gonna talk about some shit too, and that they didn't kind of belabor that the way sometimes you'll see, and right. I'm a fan of characters getting over things, not like characters magically forgetting that things happened, but characters moving on, in their relationships and not being like always like, I mean, sometimes it's just so torturous, I mean, I'm watching Cobra Kai right now.
Okay.
And
here we go.
There's just so many times when it's like something looks like it's gonna get better and then no, and here it's like, whether this is some long lasting, everything's fine. I don't think everything's suddenly fine, but it is like, all right, let's get on with things, right? And I think I appreciate that in real life when people do that, and I appreciate it in fiction. Like, I don't like these long drawn out inter-party conflicts. It's like it's often too much. Some of it fine, cool. The Avengers, great, but then like every other Avengers movie also having that kind of conflict, it's like, it feels like too much to me.
Yeah, we talked about this with Avengers. We talked about this with Matt Murdock and Foggy and Karen. Yeah. For anybody who's not yet seen the live action Cobra Kai, the live action. Now I want to see the anime of Cobra Kai.
I would love to see the animated Cobra Kai.
Where I thought, Paul, you were going, for anyone who's not seen the live action of Cowboy Bebop, please skip ahead 60 seconds. Because to me, that was where like they have their big confrontation, but then they help each other. And then at the end, it's like, oh, but wait, we're still really pissed at each other and the relationship is broken.
Yeah.
And to me, the fuck it was kind of the exact opposite of that. That was the like, no, we're good.
I agree.
But also some bad shit happened. We got to get through that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I appreciate that. I would like to see more of this. This was something that I appreciated in these last couple episodes.
Yeah. Any other last things about these two particular episodes before we just go kind of like round up of the season itself?
I ain't got shit.
There were so many random little things. Like, why was Yennefer's ex-boyfriend with the elves telling them about Ciri? Did those two lawyer people tell him to go do that? Or did he just go to the elves himself? Or did he get captured and just be like, I know about this girl?
Oh, yeah. Didn't he get captured? And they like wanted to kill him? Or he walked to them and then they're like, maybe we should kill him. I think you're right.
Yeah, but why would he be telling them about Ciri? I guess because she has elder blood?
I somewhere along the line went, you know what? My RAM is full for new storylines. And like, so I know that like there was some guy with a pretty girl and they were both wizards and they both got their faces lit on fire at some point. And the guy from Outlander there was some new kingdom. And like, I couldn't follow any of that.
Oh, that
whole thing. It just felt like halfway through season 2, they wanted to throw 5 new plots at us. And I was like, I got nothing.
I was happy with the plots they had to begin with.
Yeah.
And if they just stuck with that and like kind of ran through that, I feel like I would have enjoyed that more. But in terms of the Istrid, right?
Istrid, yeah.
I think he became kind of like very pro elf, right? He was like, he didn't like what Aretuza was doing. He didn't like what Nilfgaard was doing. And I think he's kind of trying to cut his own path. And, also I think he's just kind of that sort of like, oh, I found something out. I need to tell someone.
Yeah.
They're fuckwads, they're fuckwads. Oh, let's try the elves. Maybe they won't be fuckwads.
I like that way of seeing it.
Okay. And then we kind of find out like who the Brotherhood is. And it's weird to me that Tisea is on that group. And their plan is to kill Ciri. So like all the kings want to kill Ciri at the end of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was like...
or...
Because the Brotherhood, that's the Brotherhood of Wizards, right? Which involves some women rights. But then there was also this like Council of Kings. I think that was ending 5 of the 7 endings.
Okay. That's like, it was just a weird, I'm like, who the hell, why do you need a separate group? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're either the northern or the southern kingdoms. I don't remember which. They're the ones that aren't Nilfgaard, basically, right? And they're a bunch of kingdoms that are all
Centra.
kind of, right.
And then the guy from Outlander, his owl's actually a person, which I thought was, I was like, I knew it.
Right.
I knew that owl was going to turn into a hot chick. I just knew it.
That's a banging owl.
Hoot, hoot.
Wait. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just have so many going in my head. I'm like, don't say that, don't say that, don't say that. So just let's move on.
I have to say, I feel like I only want to cover explicit material in the future if we're trying to like kind of track how we talk about things to kind of how they are. Because, I don't know, I like talking about killing babies. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not kidding.
You've made it very clear. We know you're not kidding. But I like it too, so we're okay. I mean, we're fine.
Yeah, we're good.
Matt, bring us back.
Yeah. Okay. So season 2.
Save us.
Yeah, the guy who's like feverish and out of it.
Right, yeah.
You're doing good.
Plan. You're doing good.
We're almost done.
Season 2.
Season 2 overall. What's your take on it, especially as compared? Actually, I'll just start because to me it felt like I thought the season started so well, linear time telling. We didn't split the party to some extent. We had like 2 storylines that then became maybe 3 storylines, but like for most of it, like Ciri and the Witcher were together, and we had some interesting characters, and then it just sort of felt like they were like, and I was actually I was reading an interview with them where they were like, there was a lot of fan pushback against the sort of like multi-time line storytelling, and the writers were like, so we're gonna tell a more straightforward story, but we're just gonna introduce a lot of characters, and I was like, so your goal is to confuse the audience, and because your studio's not allowing you to do that with timelines anymore, now you just want to throw in more plot lines. Like I just
because we didn't talk about Firefucker, his girlfriend who burned her fucking face off, and then whoever the fuck they're talking to. That's 3 more characters.
I know,
right? Like them, I don't understand what's happening with them. I don't understand how this story about like fantasy and like swords and wizards and suddenly became kind of like multi-dimensional multiverse of madness, like monsters coming in.
The planes, the spheres.
They showed it at the beginning of the episode, and I'm like, how did any planet survive getting smashed up like that? I'm so confused.
Right? And like then they went to Dune for like 20 seconds at the end of the episode. I think, honestly, and part of this may well be that I liked the time stuff a lot better than you all, and I think it's much better. Like, I found the second time watching the first season of Witcher a much more enjoyable experience once I knew it. I think this was like the first time watching this through wasn't as hard as the first time watching Witcher season 1.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's going to be as enjoyable. Like, I think, honestly, like, I'd probably rather rewatch season 1 than season 2 at this point.
It's hard because, like, after season 1, my husband, just who doesn't pick apart and watch how, we watch things, just was like, I hate the show. And I'm like, but I know you wouldn't hate the show. But because of what they did, he wouldn't watch an episode of this with me, which was why it took me a little while to watch it.
Right.
And it was really
season 1.
Yeah. And it was because of, he's like, I can't follow, like, it's not that he wasn't paying attention, but he's not paying attention as much as I am, and I still had a hard time with it, but he didn't even watch an episode of the show because of that. Even when I was like, no, it all goes in order. He's like, I don't care.
I mean, I think this is a show where you really have to be like zeroed in, paying full attention all the time. And like, that's not a bad thing, but like, it's funny. And I've been watching some old Golden Girls episodes, in part because the passing away of Betty White, but also just Paul and I are maybe talking about doing an episode on that show. And like, you could be doing laundry and reading your phone and like checking things in the kitchen, and you're still going to get everything that's happening in those episodes. Like, it is not subtle in the slightest. And just compared to this show, it's such a like, I can see why for Ken it would be hard. And
it's like even us, we don't, the names and the cities and all the people, we don't even know them. And I've watched season 2 twice and all of these episodes twice. Yeah. And I'm still like, Cheryl.
So Ashley, what do you think? Do you like season 1 or season 2 more?
Season 2.
Yeah. Paul, what did you think of season 2 overall?
No. That was my answer to your other question. Overall, I don't even know. I didn't hate it all. I hated parts. I loved parts. It's a frustrating show. You know, It did really go from kind of Ravenloft to like Spelljammer or whatever, like Dark Sun or something. It's like, okay, now we're doing something different. I gotta stick up for the Golden Girls. I think there's actually a lot more subtlety that you might have missed, not entirely focusing on it. I mean, you gotta get all of those glares from Dorothy, otherwise I feel you're missing a lot of the subtext.
Oh, no. That's one of the things I did watch the 2 episodes we watched so far, laser focused. I was also just like, oh yeah, they're hitting you over the head with things pretty hard. Yeah.
I mean, there's an A plot and there's a B plot, right? And that's that's pretty much it. And you know, the structure of the stories here, I do feel like season 2 is kind of like that Kylo Ren meme, just like more, you know, where it's like it started off kind of nice and tight and like a simple story, and I really enjoyed that, and then it felt like they just wanted to keep adding more and more and more things. In a way that, you know, Game of Thrones did, and I didn't particularly enjoy there either. Like, I would rather show me one story and then just do another series or a parallel story, you know? It's like trying to take all these things and weave them in together. It often becomes too much to me. Like, I feel like if I'm invested in one part of a story, I don't want to constantly be going back to another place, you know, to a different story. And if it's just 2 stories, fine, but once it gets to be like 4 or 5 or whatever, then it gets a little bogged down to me a lot of the time. Episodes 5 and 6 did feel like they had so much going on that I felt like we still got a lot of each story. And then 7 and 8, I don't know, it just was downhill for me, and it's disappointing because I was surprised to enjoy the first 2 as much as I did. And so, the whole series is sort of like a carrot, you know, like the exponent sign on a keyboard. That's just a line that goes up and to the side, and then it goes down and to the side. Having said that, where they ended the season, I feel like, okay, whatever happens next, I might enjoy, because you have kind of finally assembled your whole party, right? And it's like, you know, it took 2 full seasons to get to that point, but like, particularly if Jaskier goes with them and it's all 4 of them, and it's like, I think that can be interesting. Hopefully they don't keep splitting them up, and you can have some dynamics between those 4 characters without having them always want to be broken apart and split apart all the time, you know? I think it would be interesting if you have some dynamics. Like, that's fine, that's great. They should have some issues with one another, but like, I don't want that to be the primary struggle. I want the primary struggle to be like, I don't know, struggling against the world because everybody fucking wants to capture Ciri, right? So like, that seems like that's enough. Like, we don't need a ton of infighting going forward. So I guess I'm not optimistic for season 3 insofar as like, I think I will enjoy the whole thing, but I am optimistic that there will be parts that I enjoy, and like, I guess I'll watch it just because I enjoy talking to you all.
Something new and different.
Yeah, something new and different.
I will say also, I thought it was interesting when you compared it to Game of Thrones in terms of like there's too many storylines, because more and more I'm finding like when you have the books or video games or something else where there's just like sweeping lore, you know, to the point where people are publishing like the encyclopedia of it. it's really hard to put that into a TV show, you know? And I feel like Game of Thrones worked for me because I had read all the books. And so there kept being moments where like they'd reference something and it was like the TV show would just show the tip of the iceberg. I would know the rest of the iceberg.
Right.
So I'd appreciate it. But if you didn't, and I think that's a real problem. And I feel like I had the opposite. I didn't finish Wheel of Time the first season because there was just so much where it was like, this is references that if you better understood the books, like, would make
hand
sense
up in
to
the
you.
back. I loved Game of Thrones and I didn't read any of the books. And like, I watched every season, like after this, when the new season would come, we would watch it from the beginning and watch it so many times that I started to understand like so much.
Yeah.
The Game of Thrones was awesome until it wasn't. And I really just hope that doesn't happen here. But yeah, I see what you're saying. But like, I don't know. Game of Thrones
it's not universal. Some people can love it, some people are not. But like one thing I realized was like there was so much in this that we missed because we're not huge fans of the books and the movies. Like apparently, Eskiel, I think his name, the Witcher who gets killed as part of the tree thing. Like he's beloved from the books, and there was like a huge outrage that I remember there was a headline that was like, Witcher fans talk about the super controversial death, and I was like, oh, we're going to talk about Roach. Interesting. And no, it was about
They were talking about Eskill.
It was about this character who was on screen for like half an episode, and I was like, why is this a big deal?
Okay.
Because in the books, he's a huge deal.
Right.
You know?
That makes sense.
And I'm guessing that's a lot of what we started getting at the end of here was they were just like, oh, wait, let's put one more thing from the books. Let's put one more thing from the books. Let's put one more thing from the books in.
And I feel like...
service.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like that's what... I think I like what Star Wars is doing, and I conceptually like what Marvel is doing. It would be nice if they had a final episode that was really good once. But like, you know, but they basically are taking little parts of their very vast, you know, their vast and complex worlds, and they're saying, we're going to build this out as its own story. Then we're going to build this out as its own story. And so if you really don't like one of those stories, like that's fine. You can watch a different one and you're not going to be completely lost, hopefully, you know,
Right.
Whereas here and the way they built Game of Thrones, like if you love it, you love it. That's great. But like it is, you can't just be like, I only want to watch the North. You know, if there was a series that was just the North, I might have watched that, you know, but I was like, I don't give a fuck about King's Landing. Like, please light that whole fucking pile of shit on fire as soon as possible.
She spoiler alert, she did, and that's where they should have ended the series. Sorry, Game of Thrones. I was so happy. I was like, burn that bitch down. I tell anybody that watches Game of Thrones, watch the first episode, like the last. Oh, wait. There was only 7 episodes at the end. Watch the 6th episode, 10 minutes, and then turn it off.
That's fair.
And there's your story.
All right, we've now wandered pretty far afield. So any other kind of last comments people want to make about season 2 before we start wrapping up? Or before we actually wrap up?
I'm glad it's over.
I'm looking forward to it.
I meant season 2. I'm glad season 2's over. I think season 3, we'll see what happens. And is the prequel coming out first? Does anybody
I don't know. Probably, since they've already put out a trailer.
I'm potentially more interested in the prequel. I don't know. I like elves. Let's see.
Well, if nothing else, let's definitely do a watch and review of the animated movie.
Oh yeah, the animated movie. Definitely, I recommend checking that out. You know, it's also a mix of things I really liked and things I really didn't like. But like, you know, that might be more all things some people like. And
right.
It certainly gives a lot of context for this season, especially, I'll say. You know, and I will say that I think I enjoyed this season more than I would have if I hadn't watched that. Primarily just because of how it related, and sort of in the way that Matthew, you say you enjoyed Game of Thrones more than you would have if you hadn't read the books. Yeah. But again, you know, you can enjoy it without, right? And you could dislike it with or without, like, to each their own. You know, everybody likes their own things. Personally, I liked the last seasons of Game of Thrones the best. But that's my controversial opinion.
What?
Yeah. The villain finally met anyway.
No, I agree with you. That's why I said watch up until the second to last episode and 10 minutes in. It's everything that happened after that I have a problem with.
Oh, no, that's who I meant by villain.
Jon Snow?
No.
Daenerys Targaryen.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was the best villain.
The
I'm with you.
imperialist, entitled, I was born with my little privilege eggs, and...
Oh, yeah, I love... And then, but everything after, that was terrible.
Anyway.
I know what you're... Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
Thank
We'll
you.
talk about it some other time. that was bad.
Can we just do
That
a
was
Game of Thrones rage
That
episode
was
sometime, please? Just like an hour for us to just yell about
we'll
everything.
all complain about different things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be hilarious.
I'm here for that.
You go get
All right.
some rest.
I'll
We've kept
complain
you
about
up way
Sean
too long.
Bean being one of my favorite actors, and that was like half the reason I wanted to watch the show in the first place.
Please, he dies and everything. You should have known better.
I watched him in
Spoilers.
Sharp's Rifles first, and he doesn't die in Sharp's Rifles. He makes it through the entire Napoleonic Wars.
One movie.
All right, Paul, what else
It's
are you
a
doing these
TV
days that
show.
people
It's
can
like
check out?
20 episodes. It's historical fiction. What else am I doing? I don't know.
No
I'm playing lots
biopics.
of poker. I'm theoretically going to make a bunch of content, but who knows? I'm Zen Madman on all the places.
There you go. Ashley, what about yourself?
I'm here. I'm on Star Wars Universe Podcast. I'm on the MCU cast. We're doing Boba Fett.
Yep.
I'm around.
Yep, we're doing Boba Fett. We're doing all the good things. Thank you both so much for doing this. To our fans, what'd you think of Witcher Season 2? Let us know. Go to theethicalpanda.com. You'll find all our contact information. Find us on Facebook, on Twitter. Email us, however you want to let your voice be heard. Please let us know what you think. We'd love to hear it. On behalf of myself, Ashley, Paul, thank you so much for listening, and have a great day.
What do you think about infanticide? Do you prefer stabbing or fire?
Like...